Well, thanks very much for inviting me along today, and I'm sorry I can't attend to meet with you in person. My name's Stephen Varwell, and I'm Planning and Communications Manager with Peatland Action, based on the Isle of Skye. And I'm just going to speak a bit about Peatland Action today, what we've been doing, and where we're at and where we're going. I'll start with just a brief overview, and apologies if this is sort of old hat to any of you. A map here showing the distribution of peatlands across Scotland, covers more than 20% of Scotland's land area, and we've got about 13% of the total global resource of blanket bog, with peatland forming much of the upper catchments of our rivers. And the map there, as is no surprise to you, is that the majority of the peatland is in the north and the west of the country. However, the sort of lowland raised bogs in the south and also in the east are very important as well. Peat provides a massive carbon store, and that's really been highlighted since COP. It's become much more sort of in the public awareness, and we've got this great stat here that the carbon locked up in Scottish peatland soils is equivalent to 140 years worth of our total annual greenhouse emissions. Of course, peatlands isn't just about carbon, although that's really why the government is focusing on it at the moment. But we all know that the benefits of healthy peatland include improved water quality, reduced flood risk at a local and also a more regional scale, improved and increased biodiversity in terms of the species that peatlands host. But also we're aware that there's a lot of green jobs available from peatlands, and that's something I'm going to touch on a wee bit later, but it's something that's perhaps overlooked a little bit when we're thinking about peatlands. Healthier fisheries, of course, in terms of improved water quality and better rivers, and then this more consistent water flows, which is an advantage for fisheries, but also an advantage for hydro schemes, just as the peatland acts as a sponge at the top of the river, holds the water and then lets it out more slowly after a heavy rain event. But now for the bad news, more than a third of our peatlands are damaged, and are actually emitting carbon rather than absorbing carbon. And we reckon that we've got over 600,000 hectares of damaged peatland. As you'll know, a peatland in healthy condition absorbs carbon from the atmosphere. But really the main importance for them is in terms of holding the carbon that's already in, so that we don't release the carbon that's already in the peatlands. Here's a graph showing the progress that we've made with Peatland Action in terms of the recovery or the restoration of peatlands. Scottish Government has given us £250 million to restore 250,000 hectares by 2030. That's the target that Peatland Action are working to at the moment. Peatland Action's now been running for 10 years, and you can see along the bottom the restoration that's been done. But you'll see that the blue line at the bottom here, the dashed line, is the line that we will achieve if we continue with the current trajectory. But where we need to get to is the top line here. And so this grey area here is really the challenge for us in terms of really increasing in scale and pace the amount of peatland restoration that we're restoring every year. This is our progress to date. This is just the same data in a slightly different format, and you'll see that this is the cumulative total, and we've achieved just over 36,000 hectares so far. In terms of what we are and what we do, Peatland Action is a national programme to restore peatlands across Scotland. It's led by Scottish Government, and it's Scottish Government funding, and it's delivered in partnership between Nature Scot and then the two national park authorities, Scottish Water and Forestry and Land Scotland. Nature Scot lead on the delivery outside of the national parks, and we work in partnership with other organisations who we provide funding to, including Triton Carbon Centre, Shetland Amenity Trust, Carloway Trust, Lochaber Fisheries Trust, and Tweed Forum and Glasgow Clyde Valley. Our plan there, or our intention there, is that by working with more local partners, we can actually get quicker and deeper delivery within communities. In terms of what we've achieved so far, this map demonstrates that we've got projects running all the way across Scotland, which is fantastic. The orange dots are the feasibility studies, which are done in advance of a full restoration project. What this doesn't show is the size of each one, but it does show the distribution across Scotland. And as I say, so far we've got over 36,000 hectares on the road to recovery. But obviously, going back to the graph that I showed you earlier, we need to do an awful lot more. With the present trajectory, we're not going to meet our target, our government target of 250,000 hectares by 2030. So we're needing to increase the pace and the scale of restoration. We need more projects, and we also need to do bigger projects. We've identified a number of sort of blockages that we need to overcome to increase that, and one of them is increasing capacity within the industry so that these bigger projects can be undertaken more quickly. We've done a lot of things already to try and make this happen. One of the main things is offering multi-year funding agreements. So to begin with, we were just offering funding for 1 year, so a project had to be sort of agreed and then completed within 1 year, and that was always a real stress towards the end of the financial year. But giving multi-year funding agreements gives confidence to landowners, to contractors, to consultants, and it allows us a little bit of flexibility, and we can also take on much more ambitious projects over a number of years and then just be working through to do that. Over the last couple of years, we've employed more Peatland Action project officers, both within Nature Scot and also within our partner organisations. And in the year to come, we're looking at employing more and working with more partner organisations as well to get more project officers on the ground to support the restoration work. We've recently published new and updated bird breeding guidance, which effectively extends the season. It means that traditionally peatland restoration was done in the winter outside of the bird breeding season, but this guidance shows how we can work within the breeding season as long as various conditions are met. So that effectively increases the number of months that contractors can be working on peatland restoration. We've got a big programme of training for contractors and also surveyors. So that's the digger drivers to do the work on site, and also the surveyors to get the projects to that stage. And I'll speak about that a bit more in a minute. We've also aligned our processes with the Peatland Code and also the permitted development process. And what this means is that the three processes can effectively move alongside each other, and there's which speeds up the application process. And hopefully means that there's a shorter amount of time between the initial inquiry and actually getting diggers on the ground. And so we've made sure that, for instance, information that's required for all three is gathered at the all at the same time, so there's no going backwards and forwards for information, or one system, one process who's holding up another one. And last but not least, which is really what my team is involved with, we've done a lot more communications work to increase the awareness and encourage more uptake. There's a raft of opportunities for landowners and land managers within by carrying out peatland restoration and getting involved with Peatland Action. Obviously, improved condition of habitats, which results in benefits for grazing, for livestock management, for the natural environment, for water quality, for biodiversity. And it's also supporting Scotland's national targets in terms of reaching net zero, tackling climate change, and also addressing our biodiversity crisis. Peatland Action currently provides up to 100% of funding for restoration projects. And I think compared to an awful lot of other sort of agri-environment or funding schemes, this is really considered to be exceptional at the moment. Who knows how long that will last for, but certainly at the moment, the 100% funding makes the works very attractive. Looking ahead, we really don't know what the future will bring, but we wonder, for instance, whether carbon auditing will be a condition of future subsidy regimes, for instance, and whether it'll be a requirement that your land holding is carbon neutral. There's also private finance available through the Peatland Code. This is a relatively new and perhaps an immature market, but there is certainly an opportunity for land managers to be getting ongoing payments through that as things go on. And last but not least, there's a real opportunity for green jobs. So this is an opportunity for land managers to diversify and sort of add another string to their bow, if you like, in terms of being able to do get involved in peatland restoration work. I'm sure I don't need to explain to you the benefits of peatland in good condition for fisheries, but just to summarise them there, it's a reduction of flood events as the peat and the peatland effectively acts as a sponge and reduces the severity of floods and lessens the impact of these floods. There's a reduction of drought conditions and keeping the upland areas wet in times of drought, an improved water quality, and also a reduction in acid flushes. And what we didn't put in there is obviously helping to reduce the risks of wildfire as well, just as a damp peatland with the water table raised is less likely to be affected by wildfire. What can we pay for through Peatland Action? And what can we support? The full range is there. We'll provide guidance and support through our Peatland Action officers. We can do initial assessments. We can pay for feasibility studies and peat depth surveys. We can pay for project design and support with the PDR process and the CDM regs as well. We can help you with the tendering process, advising on contractors, working up the funding application with you, and then provide support in terms of project management afterwards. And as I said, up to 100% of capital work costs. Your Peatland Action Officer will be your main contact throughout the project, although obviously they are supported by a huge team of technical experts and advisors sort of behind them, and data and evidence people, etc. But they'll really help you to develop your project, understand how the Peatland Action Fund can help you. They'll work up the application with you and provide support and project management for you as you go through the process. So it's a real partnership that we develop between the land manager and the Peatland Action officer. A couple of examples here of how we've got involved to benefit fisheries. With the Galloway Fisheries Trust, they identified that peatland restoration was a key requirement to improving water quality and improving fish populations in the upper reaches of the Galloway rivers. They identified acidification as a problem, and that most of the acidified water was coming from a forested deep peat. So we were able to support with peat depth surveys, pH tests, etc. And that survey and feasibility study work was funded through Peatland Action, led by the Crichton Carbon Centre. We also provide funding to Lochaber Fisheries Trust, who employ a full-time Peatland Action officer who's embedded within the trust and is tasked with working with landowners across Lochaber and Skye. And just to highlight a couple of projects that they've done on Skye, both of which are forest to bog restoration projects. One on a community-owned conifer plantation in South Skye, and the other one a privately owned conifer plantation in North Skye. We obviously take a science-based approach to what we do, and scientists are key to the work we do. They will get involved in peat depth surveys, species surveys, hydrological surveys, monitoring, mapping, project design, and also as ECOWs, ecological clerks of works. And we have specialists who are working directly with us in our data and evidence team. And in order to achieve our aims, we need more of them. We need more people who are trained up in doing these surveys and being able to design schemes so that they're fully worked up before going out to contract. If you're interested in getting involved in Peatland Action, please contact us. The email address is there. We've got a lot of information on our website, including case studies and advice about how to apply and the benefits, etc. And you can follow us on Twitter as well. And the last one there, train to work with us. We need more project designers to help us reach our targets. In terms of training, in order to do that, we run a number of two-day courses for contractors, consultants, agents and land managers, and that's delivered by the Crichton Carbon Centre. We've also worked with SRUC to deliver a peatland restoration planning course. The first one just started recently, and we've got another couple happening later this year. They're already booked up, fully booked, but we would encourage you to apply to the waiting list if you're at all interested, because that will help to confirm that there is demand and will encourage SRUC to run more of these courses. There's also a number of new entrant schemes, pre-apprenticeships and college-based courses, and you can find out more about our training events by contacting the email address at the bottom there. So thank you very much. I hope I haven't overrun. Thank you for your patience and listening, and if you've got any questions, please feel free to email me on my address there. Thank you.